I love features in Pokemon. They're the sort of things that build up your traditional Pokemon experience, and so with the announcements of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, it seems like we have the perfect moment to go through the new features we need in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. The things that are going to enhance these games and make these games worthwhile to purchase, considering a lot of people are not the best, and happiest with the graphics of these games. They got to really feature some good things for people to go and buy them. So let's take a look at some of these. Some form of the Poketch. Now, the Poketch was a staple of the original Pokemon, and it only makes sense for something like it to return. I mean, come on, it is a form of, gameplay that was sort of necessary. Now, of course, due to the kind of restrictions of the Switch being not really in two panels, but a singular panel, that's going to be quite difficult for them to pull off. Again, it is possible they could do something like this in a different form and not have the Poketch non-stop on your screen, but also we could have the Poketch as a small little screen in like a bottom corner somewhere, or something you open up separately by pressing a button. I mean, the Switch has loads of buttons that are never utilized in Pokemon games, so maybe make one of those buttons, useful in that sense, and have our character like pull up their, wrist to check their actual Poketch. Like, it would just make sense in my opinion. So what do you guys think? Do you want to see the Poketch return? Wi-Fi contests as a VGC for coordinators. So yeah, basically we have for a fact going to see like contests return, I feel like, in this game, because as this is a somewhat one-to-one remake, and also we have learned that this game is going to feature loads of things from Platinum. Like, for example, in Flow Aroma Town, there is actually the lady from Platinum that's never there in Diamond and Pearl, but the lady that's there in Platinum that tells you about Shaman, so you can catch Shaman for the Shaman event, right? So that's proof, as well as other things like there being a Porygon Z, I'm pretty sure, in the trailer for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, proves to us there are going to be features returning also from Platinum, but we don't know how many and which ones in particular. But I know one feature that was in pretty much all the games, which is contests, need to return. And what if they add a feature where you can do contests online versus other players? This would be so much fun to do it against your friends or like just random people in the world, like as an almost VGC for coordinators, as there are people who do like the coordination side of things, and I actually really enjoyed it while I was younger and playing Pokemon as well. Pokemon Mega Evolutions. Now, I talked about this in a recent video, which you guys can check out if you want to, but in this recent video when I talked about Pokemon Mega Evolutions in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I specifically mentioned that it seems like they are pretty much confirmed, but it is not always 100%. You never really know. It could be just something close to promotional work that is not really going to have anything to do with the games. But if we talk about specifically Mega Evolutions, I feel like these games require Mega Evolutions as a feature for people to be justified to buy them. I mean, let's be honest, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, if they're just a one-to-one remake, there's not really much to offer, because guess what? It looks very much similar to the other games, and it doesn't seem like it's going to have a lot of, features based on the trailer we've seen, so they would need to include something like Megas to give people more of a reason to actually buy the games. And I think Mega Evolution in particular over Gmax would be way better and way more important, especially with Megas and their overall popularity, and also not just Mega Evolutions returning as in, giving us like Mega Lucario, Mega Charizard, but I mean like giving us also brand new Mega Evolutions for like other Pokemon from like the Sinnoh region and stuff. That's definitely a must-have. So this one only makes sense to include, but the Battle Frontier is a pretty obvious one in my opinion. I mean, the Battle Frontier is a staple of, of Platinum, essentially. It's also a staple of the old games and something that a lot of people enjoyed and loved. And if they don't bring back this battle facility, I think a lot of people will just lose it and not buy these games, because the Battle Frontier in a general sense, is a place that people just want to revisit for once. They haven't seen it in Oras, they haven't seen it in any other games since what? Like since I guess Heart Gold Soul Silver was the last time, if I remember correctly, that we actually saw the Battle Frontier like anywhere, and people just need it to return, right? They just want it back. But there is a worry that because Masuda is involved in this game, and yes, Masuda is involved in this game alongside ILCA, he's going to be a supervisor, there is a worry that they're not going to bring it back. But I think Masuda has learned from the backlash that he got and all of the people over at Game Freak got back in the day for Oras for no Battle Frontier. I think he's learned from that and will bring the Battle Frontier back, even though it was something like that was in Platinum. I do think it will be returning, and it is a new feature we need in these games. Now, this is a brand new feature that I think we need, and that is fairy types. So technically they are not a brand new feature because they've been in other games, but they have never been in Diamond and Pearl because fairies were introduced during Generation 6 Pokemon X and Y. So the idea of a fairy type, being available in this game is a little bit odd because it is a remake, but I do think we need fairy types in this game to make it a little bit more interesting, to say the least, right? To kind of mix things around. Now, of course, if fairy types are added, it's going to make part of Cynthia's team a little weaker, if we're going to be honest about that, right? And it's going to make life a little bit easier throughout this game, but at the same time, I feel like, fairy typing is such a, essential part of Pokemon now that it just doesn't make any sense to not include it, especially not include it, like, if you don't include it now that we've had, like, games like Let's Go Pikachu that also included, fairy typing. So, it just makes sense to include fairy typing as a feature, I guess, and that's that. Next up is secret bases in the underground. So yeah, we know we're going to be getting the underground. We've seen it from the trailer, so that's pretty much been confirmed for us. But I also want to see, like, what if they add the secret bases in there, but not just the secret bases, but add features to them, like allow us to maybe edit our secret bases a little bit more, to add more stuff in there, make our own little, like, actual little like home and housing system, because I feel like the secret bases are something that I personally love, but they never expanded upon this. Like, they never did more with this. They just kind of like went pretty mellow with it in in the past. So do something big with it, like make it as big as it was in Oras and, like, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Like, make it as big as those games in terms of scale and all that. So yeah, some new features for the secret bases, and having secret bases in general in the underground is something we must have. Difficulty option is the next one. The last time and the only time we really saw this was during Pokemon Black and White's era, and yeah, I do think it's just about time we get a difficulty option added. Of course, these games are unlikely to have a difficulty option because they're meant to be aimed for a younger audience to be introduced to the Sinnoh region, but I do still think we need to get those, like, difficulty options added to this game for those those players that just want to have a bit of a more difficult journey, and just have it a bit more hardcore. Next is the Wi-Fi Plaza. Now, Wi-Fi Plaza was genuinely a massive thing for Generation 4 just in general, and it only makes sense to me, in my mind, to see it return in some shape or form. Now, of course, the Wi-Fi Plaza only really worked alongside, the whole system that existed then with, like, the global link and all these things, GTS rather, and all that, or, all that stuff. Basically, it worked in that old system, so it would be hard to bring it back exactly like it was, but just make something new that works within the similar, like a similar way, right? Where you can jump in there with a few friends of yours, like 4 friends or so. Just jump in there, have some fun in some mini games and stuff like that. Like, that's the bigger part, right? The mini games and those things, those are the more important aspect that I'm talking about, that I want to see return in some way or shape. Wonder trades are the next thing. So yeah, wonder trades just in general, feel like something that we kind of should have, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like kind of an essential part of Pokemon nowadays to have, like, wonder trades. So I'm just saying, give us wonder trades. I don't see what the issue is with, not giving it to us, so just give us wonder trades. Looker needs to return. So yeah, Looker was in Platinum, but he pretty much wasn't in Diamond and Pearl, so it only makes sense then, right, that he is to show up again. Even though, this is Diamond and Pearl remakes, we, again, have seen things pointing towards a lot of Platinum stuff being in this game, and I feel like Looker needs to be in there, because it's Looker, for crying out loud, and we need him, okay? We really, really need him. So I'm hoping that Looker will show up and will be there the same way he was in Platinum and whatnot. So we'll just have to wait and see how things turn out, but I do think Looker is a necessity for this game and that he needs to show up. So yeah, let's just hope that happens. So yeah, those were the features. If you guys want to see a video about Legends Arceus and the 10 features for that game, let's get to 1,000 likes.